we go here? Go. Okay, you're on. All right.
All right, just a quick synopsis of my mother and dad and their parents.
Wow.
They were my grandmother and grandfather on both sides. They were immigrants, first-year immigrants into the U.S. Both of my parents were first-year generation Americans. And my grandfather on my dad's side worked for American Standard in the forging department and died of lead poisoning from putting the enamel
I remember
in
you
the
telling
American
me that.
Standard tubs back then.
Oh, wow.
And he was very young. Dad was already drafted. And no, pardon me. He died before the First World War. They drafted Dad, but Dad was the sole support of his mother and two sisters. So he got a hardship discharge so he could earn money. He used to carry ice. And my father, as a result of carrying ice, his right shoulder always was lower than his left from the weight of carrying ice at a young age.
Wow.
His mother died during the 30s, and you have a picture of the tombstone.
I do.
In Pittsburgh. Now, my mother's father and mother lived in Bellevue, Pennsylvania, close by where my mom and dad were when they were youths. And my grandfather Chase, that was my mother's maiden name, he was one of the last blacksmiths in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Really?
He didn't have a cherry tree, he had an apple tree in his backyard, and it was big.
Wow.
He died when I was relatively young. My grandmother on my mother's side, she died scrubbing the floors at the age of like 82 or 83.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep. Old German woman. Now my mom, supposedly from one of the relatives, at one point in her life, she was rolling cigars
No.
in downtown Pittsburgh because they had a lot of cigar factories, and they always wanted young teenage virgins so that they could roll the cigars on their thighs.
Oh.
That's the old
That's the
story,
old,
whether
yeah.
that's true
or not, who knows? Yeah, I get it.
And so Mom and Dad met while they were in Pittsburgh, and they married, and Dad got a job with the Pennsylvania Railroad, and he was successful. He moved to Chicago, where he became the chief clerk in the passenger department of the PRR in the 20s. And of course, he stayed there all of his life.
And Dad, he had an opportunity to get promoted, but I remember...
That's a different deal. But at any rate, his office was in the Union Station, which still stands in Chicago. And as I recall, his office number was 660. It was on the 6th floor.
Really?
But at any rate, my dad was a hail fellow, as they used to say, hail fellow, well met. And whenever there were company parties, he would sing. And I've got a picture of him with the derby.
I do. I have that one. Yeah.
And that's the way I remember Dad. Now, Mom was an expert, besides cigar roller, was an expert seamstress.
Oh, wow.
And she made great chop suey.
And she made great chop suey, but she was an expert seamstress. And that picture that is right along with Dad's, that is a dress that she made after looking at a picture from Harper's Bazaar. Now, Harper's Bazaar is still one of the fashion magazines, She used to be
They
a
were
subscriber and would look at dresses in there, and if she wanted one that she liked, she would
Make it.
make it herself.
Good for
And,
her.
yeah, she was very good, and she made that. It was a peach-colored formal gown for the Pennsylvania Railroad's annual Christmas party. And oh, was she a knockout when she wore that.
I bet.
Trust me.
Mm.
And I don't know what happened to me. My dad was a handsome man. And another little part of the history, as far as Dad is concerned, he ultimately had to have all of his teeth extracted. Now, if you notice the picture you've got, as I recall, you don't see his teeth, because when I smile and talk, I don't show my teeth. When Dad smiled and talked, he didn't show his teeth. But when he had to have false teeth put in, he thought, what the hell, if I'm going to spend all this money, I want the damn things to show. So after he had the false teeth put in, he could smile and show his teeth.
Now, I've never heard that story
That's
before.
true. And the other
Tell-
interesting thing is when Dad passed away from heart failure, why, as I was driving from Arlington Heights to Mom and Dad's apartment in Chicago, why, you will never guess what came over the radio. The Tchaikovsky Piano Concerto Number 1, which I played in Orchestra Hall in Chicago at the tender age of 16.
Wow.
And that was real spooky. Came in around 3 o'clock in the morning. And then when Mom died, if you want to hear spookiness, she was the 7th daughter of a 7th daughter. And as you know, in gypsy cultures, well, you don't know that because there are no gypsies. They've all been killed, mostly. In gypsy cultures, the 7th daughter of a 7th daughter has prescient talents, which means they could see into the future. And Mom exhibited those sometime. When I came down with scarlet fever, she had a premonition beforehand that I was going to be sick. And I was. Almost died. But that being said, when she passed away, poor dear, why, it was like 1 or 2 in the morning, and we went to see her before she died, and she was still alive. And she was in a great deal of pain, and of course, Mom didn't want to be in pain, and the nurse said, well, I can give her some morphine, but it might kill her. I said, she doesn't want to be in pain. So they gave her the morphine, and she died. And I don't know if you remember this, Bob, but after that, when we walked out of the nursing home into the parking lot, what had been a perfectly clear night suddenly turned into a strange night because rain came straight down. No wind, no nothing. Just straight down rain. Spooky. Really was. Okay.
All right. Dad, thank you very much for that. We love you. Okay, this is January 1st, 2016. Bye-bye now. And you're allowed to drink wine now because you bought the groceries. Love you, Dad.